The Vorthan Empire had kidnapped 12,000 humans. Scientists, engineers, artists, philosophers, the best Earth had to offer. They wanted to study humanity, learn from us, understand what made humans valuable enough to conquer. The Vorthan had a weakness, though. They feared something they didn't understand. They feared unpredictability. They feared chaos. They feared madness. This was why humanity's military strategists sent Dr. Elena Volkova. Elena wasn't a soldier. She wasn't a warrior. She was something far more dangerous, a mathematician and game theorist who had spent 30 years studying chaos theory, nonlinear systems, and the mathematics of unpredictability. She was brilliant. She was unconventional. And most importantly, she was completely unpredictable. When the Vorthan demanded humanity send a delegation to negotiate, the Human Council made an unusual choice. They sent Elena alone. The Vorthan commander, a being named Kreshvor, was bewildered. You send a single individual to negotiate for 12,000 lives? Elena smiled. I send you the only person capable of breaking your entire empire. Kreshvor laughed. One human scientist. One human who understands something your species abandoned millennia ago, Elena replied. Chaos. She was taken to the Vorthan research facility where the kidnapped humans were being held. The other captives saw her arrive and felt despair. This small woman couldn't possibly save them. She was unarmed. Alone. Against an empire. But Elena wasn't there to fight. She was there to break the Vorthan's mind. She began, systematically, to introduce chaos into the facility's operations. Not through violence. Through mathematics. The Vorthan operated on predictable systems. Every process followed logical sequences. Every decision emerged from optimized algorithms. It was efficient. It was stable. And it was vulnerable to someone who understood how to weaponize unpredictability. Elena began making errors in her movements. Walking left when logic suggested right. Speaking in patterns that didn't follow linguistic convention. Making decisions that served no apparent purpose. To a species that evolved to process predictable patterns, her behavior was terrifying. Then she did something devastating. She taught the captured humans to be unpredictable. She instructed them to ask unanswerable questions. To make illogical requests. To behave in ways that defied the Vorthan's data models. The humans, desperate and creative, embraced this role with enthusiasm. They sang songs with non-standard rhythms. They created art that violated mathematical proportion. They laughed at random intervals. The Vorthan's processing systems began to malfunction. Kreshvor demanded Elena explain her strategy. What are you doing? Showing you something your civilization forgot, Elena said calmly. Order is an illusion. The universe is fundamentally chaotic. Your entire empire is built on the false premise that order can be maintained permanently. I'm simply revealing the truth. She walked to a wall and began tracing patterns on it, mathematical fractals, chaotic systems, nonlinear functions. Your empire optimizes through predictability. You eliminate variables. You create systems where every outcome is calculable. But consciousness itself is chaotic. Creativity is chaotic. Free will is chaotic. Elena pointed at the humans. This is what you captured. Not resources. Chaos incarnate. Creatures who thrive in unpredictability. Who create meaning in randomness. Who find beauty in disorder. The Vorthan's neural networks began to fray. The more Elena explained, the more they understood, their empire wasn't under attack. Reality itself was attacking them. The very concept of order they had built civilization around was being exposed as temporary, fragile, and fundamentally incompatible with conscious existence. Kreshvor ordered Elena executed. But his officers hesitated. Her unpredictability had infected their systems. They couldn't predict what would happen if they killed her. What if her death triggered something worse? The fear paralyzed them. Elena continued, undisturbed. She spent the next 72 hours introducing chaos systematically throughout the facility. She taught the Vorthan guards to play games with irrational rules. She showed them music with impossible time signatures. She demonstrated mathematical proofs that chaos and order were complementary forces, not opposites. By the third day, the Vorthan Empire's research facility had descended into controlled chaos. The humans were being released, not because Elena had fought, but because the Vorthan could no longer process the concept of keeping them. Kreshvor approached Elena as she prepared to leave. The commander's expression was haunted. "What have you done to us?" "Freed you," Elena said simply. "Your empire is built on the fear of chaos. I've shown you that chaos isn't something to fear. It's the fundamental nature of reality. Your entire civilization was fighting against the universe itself." She paused at the door. "Humans thrive in chaos because we evolved in it. We were never meant to exist in perfect order. That's why you can never truly conquer us. We aren't fighting against disorder. We are disorder. We're the universe expressing itself through consciousness." As the human delegation departed with the 12,000 rescued scientists, they left behind an empire in the midst of existential crisis. The Vorthan would spend the next century rebuilding their entire civilization around the understanding that chaos wasn't something to eliminate. It was something to accept. To work with. To understand. Back on Earth, the Council asked Elena what she had actually done to defeat an empire without firing a single shot. Elena smiled. "I showed them the truth about consciousness. And consciousness, by definition, is unpredictable. The Vorthan Empire never tried to conquer humanity again. How could they? They had finally understood what humans had always known: the most powerful force in the universe isn't order. It's the beautiful, terrifying chaos of free will and creative thought." Kindly like and subscribe channel. Thank you.